Hello, class. Welcome to week 3 of EPSI 255, Child Development. In this section, we are going to go over prenatal development and birth, and that is primarily focused in Chapter 3. We are going to start off with prenatal development. And I want you all to look at this word prenatal. So natal, another word for natal is birth or to be born. And pre, obviously that means before. So what we're looking at when we're looking at prenatal development is that we are focusing on development while the child is in the mother's womb. So to begin, we are going to define what is prenatal development. And like I said, prenatal development starts in the mother's. We're focusing on the development in the womb. And prenatal development actually begins when the egg is fertilized by the sperm, and that fertilization allows for a zygote to be formed. And prenatal development ends with birth. It usually lasts anywhere from 38 weeks to 40 weeks. That's a typical pregnancy. Obviously, children are born and can be born before the 38 to 40 weeks, but typically prenatal development lasts around 266 days to about 280 days, which again is 38 weeks to 40 weeks. It ends with birth, and prenatal development can be divided into 3 periods: germinal period, the embryonic period, and lastly, the fetal period. And so we're going to take a deep dive into those 3 periods of prenatal development, and we're going to begin with the germinal period. The germinal period is the first period in prenatal development, and the germinal period begins from conception. So when we have a fertilized egg, in other words, a zygote, and it ends at about 2 weeks after conception. And there are key things that occur in the germinal period. The first, as I stated, is that the egg is fertilized by the sperm, creating a zygote. And then after the zygote is formed, we have cell division. And when I talk about cell division, the cell division occurs rapidly throughout the germinal period. It doesn't take a long time for the cells to divide in the germinal period. It happens rapidly. And lastly, in the germinal period, the fertilized egg or the zygote attaches to the uterine wall. And that is where the zygote will grow and move into the next period. There are some key things that are occurring in the germinal period. The first is that cells obviously are being replicated quickly, but there is something else that is going on with the cells. When cells are rapidly forming during the germinal period, cells are also being specialized for different tasks. So there may be cells that will eventually turn into brain cells. There will be cells that eventually turn into arms and legs or organs. All of those things start to occur. The differentiation or the specialization of task for those cells begin to take place during the germinal period. So pretty much the cells start to get their marching orders of what exactly they're going to be doing in the body. There are two types of cells in the germinal period. The first is the blastocyst. And the blastocyst is the summation of the inner mass of cells, so the inner cells. And the inner mass of cells, or the blastocyst, is going to eventually become the embryo. The blastocyst will eventually become the embryo. The other types of cells that are formed in the germinal period is the trophoblast. The trophoblasts are the outer layer of cells. And we are not able to see that in the picture, but imagine that there are cells inside of this picture that we're not able to see. So the inner cells, the trophoblast is the outer layer of cells, so we are able to see that. And that provides nutrition and support. The blastocyst we're not able to see, which is the inner mass of cells, but the trophoblast we are able to see. That's the outer layer of cells here. And those outer layer of cells will eventually provide nutrition and support for the zygote. And as I stated in the past slide, is that the zygote attaches to the uterine wall, and that is called implantation. That usually occurs between 11 to 15 days after conception. And remember, zygote is just another name for the egg that has been fertilized by the sperm.